entry number is 282842. Today, my partner and I will discuss a worldwide issue which is domestic violence. Before we start our discussion, I will let my partner introduce herself. First and foremost, what is domestic violence?
Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Siti Syazwani binti SOBBIHI 282870. Today I will share about domestic violence with my partner DALILA. So let's go.
Domestic violence is an act abuse by one family member against another family member. The person who commit domestic violence effortlessly try to control the person being abused. This violence happen to all age and happen to men to even thought the victim are mostly women.
Furthermore, through the Domestic Violence Act 1994, domestic violence is no longer a private matter and has become a concern to society. It is crime under the Penal Code. Women's organisation in Malaysia lobby for almost a decade before the Domestic Violence Act was passed in 1994.
In addition, domestic violence can occur in many ways. First, physical abuse. For example, abuser hitting, pushing, punching, slapping, kicking, throwing objects or choking the victim. Second, emotional abuse. For example, abuser use abusive words to humiliate or make the victim feel unworthy openly or through online or social media application. Third, sexual abuse. For example, abuser using sex to control or humiliate the victim, including threatening the victim to engage in unsafe sex or sexual practice in which the victim does not want to engage. Or isolation. For example, restricting movement or preventing the victim from visiting, seeing, or talking to family members or friends. Fifth, threat. For example, threatening to harm, kidnap, or harm the victim or the family children or pets, or threatening to commit suicide. Sixth, economic abuse. For example, limiting the victim's freedom or financial security, including withholding or refusing to provide enough money for household expenses or confiscating a person's income. And the last one is stalking. For example, harassing and threatening repeatedly, including following the victim or showing up at the victim's home or workplace, making harassing phone calls, leaving voicemail, or sending threatening messages on social media, such as through WhatsApp application.
Now we go to how does domestic violence happen. There are three phases in the violent cycles. First, tension phase. In this phase, abuse a less severe form occurs. Victim can often feel the tension that occurs and try to make amends with the abuser to avoid abuse. Victims will minimize minor incidents and even blame themselves for the abuser behavior. Victims may also not recognize that the tension can turn violent even if such a situation has occurred. Secondly, explosive. The abuser anger rose sharply. Serious injuries can occur as a result of such violence. The victim is often shocked and can't believe that the incident has happened. Usually, victims and abusers believe in the myth that the abuser cannot control his anger. Thirdly, honeymoon phase. Without intervention, the level of abuse will tend to increase over time. The abuser is sorry and promise to change. The abuser can be a loving person and give as one way to apologize. The abuser tries to rationalize the violence incident and blame the victim as the cause of the abuse. The abuser makes the victim feel guilty and sorry for him. The victim believes that the abuser will change. The abuser's behavior change temporarily, empowering the victim to continue the relationship. Often happens the victim wants to withdraw the complaint or police report during the case. It is important for us to know that cycle of violence do not necessarily exist in all violence relationships. In addition, the three phases may differ in terms of severity and duration for each phase.
To break the circle of violence, a victim needs to accept the fact that by continuing the relationship, the violence will become a habit that can harm themselves and their children. Victims need to believe that a life without violence is better for themselves and their children. Victims need emotional and financial support. If the abuser intends to break the circle of violence, then he himself must dedicate to change his behavior. This includes changing his attitude toward the victim, dealing with anger, improving communication skills, for example, listening and speaking, and not rely on coercion or violence in his relationship.
But why do abusers engage in violence? First, it must be power and control. Abusers are usually selfish and ignore the victim feeling. They control their family members through violence, make major decisions, and mistreat their partners. They like to feel superior. Second, family factor. Some abusers may have been raised in an environment of violence. They may have experienced family violence in their childhood and learned violent behavior from their family. They must think it was the correct way to have to live. Third, social factor. Abusers tend to have traditional ideas about the role of women and men, where women should be slaves to men. They cannot accept the women have the right to make decisions about their own life, such as going to work. Lastly, physical factors. Abusers may suffer from physical problems and experience personality disorder related to severe emotional change, lying, sexual problems, drug abuse, or sadistic behavior.
First and foremost is the victim. They will have low self-esteem and lack of confidence, mental disorder, shame, guilt, and self-isolation, depression, or suicidal tendencies. That's all for me and my partner. Thank you for watching. Bye.